when the weather warms up, you can often find me on my scooter riding around the neighborhood, where I pass by tons of houses. But what if I were to tell you that one of the people that lives near me on my scooter route works in TV news? As a communications major, my curiosity was peeved. Especially because he lived so close to my house. So I decided to go visit him on the job one day.
My name is Ben Gorenstein. I'm a digital content producer here. So my job is to do the website, update stuff on the website. I gather stories for the website, but I do create a lot of the Facebook posts. And then I keep our other social media accounts up to date and active. I put stuff on YouTube and also Instagram. I've been at WNYT for 14 years. In terms of current people in the newsroom for seniority, current people who are here now, I'm number 6 in seniority. And I did an internship here. My first internship was Capital News 9, and then I did an internship at a PR firm called Chuck Brown Associates. Television is a tough field to get a job in, and especially my parents wanted to make sure, I had another route in case, I didn't go into TV. So I took a look at what PR, I did one PR internship, and then did the internship here as my third internship.
Ben is a 2005 graduate of Guilderland High School and earned a communications degree from Sage College 4 years later. Of all the internships, Channel 13 stood above the rest, and Ben immediately got to work there, right out of college. Doing what, you may ask?
Stand by, studio. Roll the open.
I was a weekend morning producer. I would produce the weekend morning show. The anchors at the time were Dan Bazile and Tim Drawbridge. It was a tough schedule, but once you got the show done and the show went on the air, the feeling was wonderful. I was a little nervous that first time coming in here. It was scary. I mean, it's Channel 13. I grew up watching Channel 13 since I was a little kid. So you come in and you meet everybody, and you're a little starstruck at first. First you meet the people on TV and you go, oh, they're real people. And then when they start calling you by your name for the first time, that's really cool.
Channel 13 originally signed on the air in 1954 as WTRI. They eventually gained their current call letters in 1981. Over the years, they had trouble staying afloat in the ratings, largely due to some signal problems. Their newscasts were also prone to technical difficulties.
Cooper covered the game, and he's here now to tell us all about it.
Is won by Notre Dame. Sluby underneath the Hicks against Uwe Blop, and Blop did a great job defensively.
6 minutes, they're going to foul if they have. And Dolan tried to get up.
I'm awfully sorry. That was a Notre Dame game, and we'll get to that in a minute. In fact, we'll get to it right now.
But in the 80s, they finally started to invest in their news product, as well as programming, and it paid off.
Wheel of Fortune, 7:30 p.m. weeknights on TV 13.
With TV news veteran Ed Dague at the helm, Channel 13 employed a concept to news that had never been seen before.
Good evening. Couple of important votes tonight. The State Senate voted 30-24 in favor of cameras in the courtroom.
Joining Ed was Chris Kapostashi, who now goes by her married name at MSNBC. They offered the most up-to-date news stories in the area right as they were happening, a process they like to call
live, local, late breaking.
It's the 3 L's.
The 3 L's. 3 L's, that's right.
And it paid off. Channel 13 has spent the past 30 years at #1 in the ratings. A lot of Channel 13 staff people have been with the station for over 30 years or more, including Paul Cayano, who just celebrated the 30-year mark, and Roger Weiland, who joined the station in 1986. Meanwhile, their general manager worked a remarkable 44 years at the station, retiring in 2021. Ben has a lot of personal stories, being an avid Channel 13 viewer.
So it was so crazy to come in here and meet everybody. And I actually did it once when I was an 8th grader at Farnsworth. I remember my little brother being in shock meeting Ed Dague. And at first he wasn't sure who it was. He knew he was on TV, but at first he was about 10 years old. He wasn't totally sure who Ed Dague was, who it was, but he knew he was on TV and he was important. So he was very excited to meet this person. So when I was here for the job shadow, it was Ed Dague and Lydia Colbita were the anchors.
Channel 13 just celebrated its 70th birthday this year. Turning 70 can mean a lot of things, but for a TV station, it can mean digging into the archives to see what you can find for uploading for historical purposes. Unfortunately, Channel 13 has let most of its archives collect dust. That is, until Ben came along.
I actually created the News Vault show. When MSNBC first started, they had a TV show with Jane Pauley called Time and Again. And it was basically very similar to News Vault, where they would take, Jane Pauley would come out on this old style set and she would introduce old clips and old newscast features. I loved that show. I would sit there and just watch that show and be like staring at it. And I said, you have all this stuff upstairs, we could do that here with all of our old stuff. And I pitched it to the bosses, and the bosses liked it and let me do it.
Ben has his own share of history. He was born in 1987, the same year as the Thruway Bridge collapse and an October snowstorm.
I was looking upstairs and I found those snowstorm videos just when I was digging through stuff upstairs. I was like, ooh, snowstorm videos, and that's how, and then we got started on the whole specials, and now we're doing specials all the time.
Well, the news covers events that happened today. The News Vault covers events that happened yesterday.
This is the 30-minute news.
When we do our News Vault segments, if you've seen those, we shoot those in here. So they set all the things up, and it's a blank space, and
Wow.
we do that.
So they just sit on the shelf like that?
These just sit on the shelf. We have to figure out a way to get a machine to play those. The rest of these we can play. You come back here. So these are different stories. Like I took this off the shelf. You open this up. You have to look for the tape number. Some exist, some don't. And if you look in here, it'll give you a list of stories that's on the tape.
Ah.
So it's like a roadmap that someone created, like a little time capsule. Here's a newscast from 1978.
Oh my God. Post that on YouTube.
So not yet. I want to get a better copy of it, or a better print out of it if we can. I tried to. I'll show you what it came out to. I can show you what they look like. Because I have a whole folder where I save all this stuff, and I'll show you that at my desk in a little while. But we have so much. I tried to organize this. This wasn't as organized as it was in this section, so I tried to make it a little better than it was. Still needs some work, but this is the sports section.
So all the archival things on the sports shows will
They're
come
not
from
as
these.
organized as the news section, though. It's a lot easier to find news stuff than it is sports stuff in here.
And cutting reels.
Yes. We also have over here, this works good for the 80s. They made this in the 80s, but we don't use it as much in the, ever since then, things went a little bit more electronic, but you ever heard of an old card catalog in a library?
Yes.
It's our card catalog of tapes. You find the story you want, you pull it out, it gives you a tape number. So like if we want to find this, it's on tape 1128 from 1983. It tells you what it is. Picketers at Columbia Memorial Hospital. So I go 1128, I come over here. Okay, so this is tape 1128, which I put in there. So it's gonna go in here, and now we go back to master control. Okay, so that's in. Now I have to hit a bunch of buttons. Okay, so that's set.
Are they all called News Vault?
Yeah. Well, not all of these. These are not just News Vault. We have actual news stuff going.
Yeah,
there.
but
like the
that.
funeral for the guy guy who died in the helicopter crash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that happened today. There's gonna be more with that today. That's gonna be one of our big stories today. Today is the 26th, so I give it a date. I give it a time for how long I want it to roll, and then I start recording. I turn on the machine, which is a 3/4 inch machine.
Wow.
So I have to set this to say composite because it's a U-matic machine.
Ah.
I put this in. I learned all this stuff just in the last couple, when I was starting to go through all this stuff. And now we hope it works. So if this works, we'll see stuff from 1990 pop up.
Ooh.
So there you go. So I don't know which story, so I can fast forward and rewind. So I can figure out where we are on here. Robbery. So that's when they were put originally on the tape. They wanted to make sure people knew what story it was. With, I believe that's Alphonse D'Amato.
What's happening that the news survived?
Chuck Schumer beat him in the Senate race back in around 98, I believe, or so.
Channel 13 started uploading from its News Vault in 2022 to commemorate the 35th anniversary of the Thruway Bridge collapse. Today you can find lots of old clips and old newscasts from their News Vault, including this very recent one. How about that? A callback to when Siena basketball was actually good. No joke, I actually chatted with sports director Roger Weiland in the studio while I was hanging out with Ben, and he was the first to break it to me that Siena was going to hire Jerry McNamara as their new coach. However, Ben's favorite find is one he hasn't even uploaded yet.
In the bottom of a bin, a bunch of promos that we ran in 1977 when we switched from ABC to CBS. And we were CBS for, I think, it was 3 or 4 years, and then we became NBC, as I'm sure you know. They had a jingle. I will not sing it. They had a jingle and a commercial that explained, the date it was going to happen, which was October 23rd, 1977. And then 4 years later, we switched again with Channel 6, and we became NBC. And I think NBC wasn't doing so great at the time, so they just kind of, Channel 6 didn't want NBC anymore, they gave it to us. And then the 80s ended up being huge for NBC.
For a while, Albany was a very competitive news market, with often all 3 stations taking a turn at the top. Now, things have changed quite a bit, but Ben still remains confident that Channel 13 can find a way to keep its #1 position.
It's not as crazy as you might think by reading some newspapers sometimes, I would say. We always want to be #1. That's what I'll say. It does go up and down. It's always, it's tough. That's why all the TV stations around here are always fighting, for #1. And you try. I think sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. We always want to win. It's a little bit like, a sports competition.
Another hurdle to consider is the changing ways people consume their news. Aside from watching them on TV now, you can also get your news online using an app or subscribing to their YouTube page. Obviously, as a digital content producer, Ben knows his job is always subject to change.
So we were upstairs on the 2nd floor in a different room, and we would just kind of keep an eye on the news. Social media had a presence, but it wasn't as big a presence as it is now. And our YouTube channel was there, but not anywhere near to the level it is now. It's just kind of the responsibilities have grown, digital has grown exponentially. But my job now will not be the same as my job here if 5-10 years from now, if I'm still here, which I would like to be. Television always evolves, so it's just something you always expect. It's different every day. You never know what it's going to be like. It's basically living history, which is cool. I'm still like a little bit like a little kid with television. I find it like that awe of the magic and how it all happens. Basically things like that. It's a little tough to put into words, but there's just something about it that there's a magic to it. And there's a sense of accomplishment every day. You come in and you feel like you've done a service, you've helped the public, understand something.
I wasn't allowed to post any of the stuff Channel 13 had from their archive on the channel, but I did have the help of another channel. There is a YouTuber from the Albany area named Junkie's Tape In, which has been uploading old Albany TV material since the channel started in 2021. The person behind Junkie's Tape In did not want to be seen on camera, but they did allow us to use their video clips in order to make this video possible, and we thank them for doing so. I also would like to thank Ben for allowing me to come in and check out News Channel 13, a possible job option for me in the near future. Until then, Sam on the street here, thank you for watching.
Are back last night, or?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, just you waited until you had it last night. We were out till last night too?
No, we actually, we had ours on earlier before you guys did. I think you guys had your generator on.
Yeah, we had our generator.